bodies, death cult. That's why he volunteered to be a porter in a hospital, so he got to the mortuary. And she said Diana thought he was a sleazy man. She couldn't stand him. But he said, when asked, why are you on the inner circle of the royal family? I get things done and I work deep cover. Bloody hell he did. Bloody right he did. And that's why his back was always covered. Who, what, where, when, and with whom? The reason they're desperately trying to put the lid on this is very simple. When the truth comes out about all this, the political and royal establishment will collapse. That's why they're trying to do it. He was supplying children to Ted Heath. Not least out of the children's home in Jersey, when he went over to Jersey and one of his yachts, Morning Cloud, one of many called Morning Cloud. This has come out through other people now. And even the bloody Daily Mail accepted at one point, when all this was breaking, that Margaret Thatcher knew that there was a paedophile ring, or at least paedophiles in her inner circle, and she did nothing. Who was a close friend of Margaret Thatcher? Jimmy frickin' Savile. This was a close aide, Peter Morrison, from when she became Conservative leader in 75 right through to when she left as Prime Minister in 1990. Known paedophile. Even Edwina Currie, the former Thatcher minister, said so in her diaries. And so have others come out within the Conservative Party. He, Lord McAlpine, was her Svengali inner circle advisor all the way through the same period that he was our other close aide. And her Home Secretary, Leon Britton, the man who lost the dossier from Geoffrey Dickens, the MP, the late MP, that was exposing the political paedophilia and naming names. In America, this guy, I've named this guy for bloody hell, how long now? Way back into the 90s. Child killer, child abuser, child torturer. Said it on American radio endless times, in books endless times. And yet he's still at large. And you know, MI5, excuse that with Special Branch, I can't take these bleeding seriously. MI5, Special Branch, right? You can't cough close to the royal family without they've done a massive check on you. And they didn't know about Savile. The NSA, the CIA, they don't know about Bush and all the rest of them. What did the CIA do in response to Bush being a child killer? They named their headquarters after him. Here you go, this is the Political Paedophile Investigation Squad. This is the Political Paedophile Protection Unit. And we keep coming back to the big picture. These are protected because paedophilia has to be protected because of its energetic significance to that which controls the system from the unseen. So Geoffrey Dickens, he had this dossier which he gave to this guy. He's a nice bloody man, isn't he? Now, one of my sources was Andrea Davison. She was a lady that represented the abused at the North Wales inquiry. Care home inquiry, care home, what a joke. And she worked, was an operative within British intelligence. I met her in the 90s. Lovely lady. And she's now on the run in South America because they fitted her up for a crime that appears not only she didn't do, but actually never took place. And the judge who, in her absence, because she had new people and got her out of the country, the judge that awarded a jail sentence was the lawyer representing the famous names seeking not to be named in the North Wales inquiry, while she was representing the victims, and he never said what his connection to her was when he was the judge making the fricking sentence. And he gave her some of the infamous Dickens dossier with the names on. And her house was raided by North Wales and Derbyshire police, who took it away never to be seen again. It's a massive fricking cover-up. Here you go. Oh shit, right, usual strategy, order an inquiry and make it go nowhere, sorted. Except that it wasn't. Here you go. We'll leave no stone unturned except for those with our people underneath. So, anyone want blatant evidence that it's a cover-up? To investigate what happened to the dossier and political paedophilia and Downing Street paedophile rings, they appoint to head the inquiry the sister of Lord Havers, known paedophile, who was the Attorney General who helped to cover up the frickin' paedophilia in politics at the same time that he was Home Secretary. 60 million people, and that's all they can bloody come up with. And then when a lot of us who kind of understand this started putting out the fact that this was all going on, Daily Mail, to their credit, picked it up and made a big splash about it. She had to step down. And so who did they say in her place? The Lord Mayor, Fiona Woolf, 60 million bloody people plus, and they can't find anyone that doesn't live in his frickin' street and has dinner with him. What? How much evidence do people need? How much evidence do the media need that this is the most blatant cover-up because the establishment would fall and the monarchy would be fricking history if this came out? Protect the kids, no, protect the archontic abusers. So all these different areas of the system, ultimately through the hierarchy, end up there. And their great language is the language of symbolism. Interestingly, reptiles communicate through imagery rather than other forms of communication, apparently, I was reading recently. The language of symbols. Why? Why do they have this symbolic language? Well, Confucius once said, signs and symbols rule the world, not words or laws, and there's a reason for that. Because a symbol, like everything else, is just an information field carrying the information that it represents. Going to give you a number of examples as we go along here about this. And so, a symbol, we see it as a symbol, yeah, but that's the hologram, that's in the hologram. It's actually a vibrating information field, which enters the eyes. But it enters the eyes without fanfare. I can be looking at a symbol, I might not even know I'm looking at a symbol. I might be subconsciously looking at a symbol because it's just in my eye line and I'm not aware of it. But I'm taking in on a subconscious level that information field. But I don't know I am. Whereas when you're getting communication to the ear, it's still a vibrating information field, what we call sound. But if it's within the audio range of the ear, you know you're receiving it, unless it's below threshold, subliminal. So the greatest way of getting information into the mind, into the brain, into the subconscious to influence perception is through the eyes, because you don't take it in. It's almost entirely subconscious. Look at that figure right at the start of the day, 11 million sensations a second, and the brain takes 40. But the subconscious takes the frickin' lot, that's the point. And so symbols, the information in symbols, is a gateway to the subconscious mind, which eventually filters through to the conscious mind and starts to influence actions. And when you focus on a symbol, you are, through entrainment, syncing your energetic field with what the symbol represents. Doesn't matter if you have a misguided idea of what you think it represents. What it actually represents dictates the frequency, and therefore when you sync with it, there will be an energetic connection through the symbol to that which it represents, because the frequencies are the same. So when you're focused on that, that's taking you into a certain low vibrational frequency. I mean, like I said, a symbol of a religion. Energy flows where attention goes. So if you can get people involved in rituals or anything that involves symbols and you put their attention on it, you are connecting them energetically, frequency-wise, to that, what that represents. And, you know, sportsmen will say that when there's a big crowd and they're all on their side, willing them to win, they get energy from them. Called morning cloud. This has come out through other people now. And even the bloody Daily Mail accepted at one point, when all this was breaking, that Margaret Thatcher knew that there was a paedophile ring, or at least paedophiles in her inner circle, and she did nothing. Who was a close friend of Margaret Thatcher? Jimmy frickin' Savile. This was a close aide, Peter Morrison, from when she became Conservative leader in 75 right through to when she left as Prime Minister in 1990. Known paedophile. Even Edwina Currie, the former Thatcher minister, said so in her Dottie's death cult. That's why he volunteered to be a porter in a hospital, so he got to the mortuary. And she said Diana thought he was a sleazy man. She couldn't stand him. But he said, when asked, why are you on the inner circle of the royal family? I get things done and I work deep cover. Bloody hell he did. Bloody right he did. And that's why his back was always covered. Who, what, where, when, and with whom? The reason they're desperately trying to put the lid on this is very simple. When the truth comes out about all this, the political and royal establishment will collapse. That's why they're trying to do it. He was supplying children to Ted Heath, not least out of the children's home in Jersey when he went over to Jersey on one of his yachts, Morning Cloud, one of many